Welcome 5th grade teachers to another Passport to Social Studies video. My name is Mr. Giordano and I'm the 5th grade Social Studies Virtual Content Specialist. Today we will look at Unit 3, a United States case study, and our day 11 through 12 lesson. The topic for this lesson is the Transcontinental Railroad. Our focus question is how have forces and events in United States history led to growth and transformation of the nation? Our learning objective will be to use primary and secondary sources to understand the impact of the Transcontinental Railroad on different groups of people. So today, your students will be creating a digital museum exhibit that will allow them to tell a more complete history of the Transcontinental Railroad considering a specific point of view. As students conduct research, they will find information on what a historical point of view thinks about the Transcontinental Railroad. They will describe how this point of view was impacted by the Transcontinental Railroad or how they impacted the building of it. Students will show the audience the point of view of their character. This type of digital museum exhibit requires extensive research, planning, and the creation of their exhibit using a template, which I'll show you later on in this presentation that the Passport of Social Studies provides. But another digital tool to elevate this type of project is using a Google site, where you can actually have students create their own website that will act as a digital museum exhibit. By creating a Google site, students will create a digital museum exhibit on a website and format it to fit their personalized style. They will publish the website to their immediate school domain, which means it will be accessible to a wider and more authentic audience. So this is important because this means that anybody within the same bubble of the email address that you use can view the website. Therefore, if you're using your NYC DOE, your @schools.nyc.gov account, anyone within that bubble can view the site. If you're using your immediate school domain, anybody within that bubble can see the site. It still remains private, but the people within your immediate community can view it. So today, I will review the steps for creating a Google site with you and how to format it for this project. So just to review, these are the slides that are presented in the Passport to Social Studies for this project. These are the requirements for students, the three main parts for this digital museum exhibit, including an image that they're going to have to find to represent the historical point of view, a quote by or about someone that represents the point of view, and then information to complete their research, which is discussing this specific point of view and the Transcontinental Railroad. So you can pause the video now to view these four parts of the information that they'll have to provide in their exhibit. Next, you can see the example of a template that's provided for you through the Passport to Social Studies, where students can paste a photograph here in the blue box of the point of view that they're portraying in their exhibit, a quote in the bottom pinkish red box, and then last but not least, in the yellow box, all the information that they've collected from their research. Last but not least, there's provided a checkoff chart where students can assess and keep track of their work, ensuring that they have all the parts for this project included to complete and be successful in this task. Okay, so before we jump into this, I do want to show you how to actually access a Google site. So what you would do is you would go to your Google Drive, you're going to go to New, you're going to go to More, and then press Google Site, and you'll be prompted to open up a Google site, which will automatically occur for you. And it will be a blank Google site that now the students can format on their own. You can even model this for them. They could even work in groups to complete this. And so what they'll be able to do is they will be able to change the topic, the page title. They could write Transcontinental Railroad. They can also go in and they could begin to edit the site by giving it a name up top here. And that's going to then be the name of the site. So my suggestion would be to make it their name or the class period that they have, or even the teacher's name. That way it's easy to find. So I will just put my last name and I'll put SS5. This way it is easy for anybody who wants to find their site to find. And now students can begin to actually craft the site by using different layouts that are provided. such as the ones here. So I can use this layout, for example, which will allow me to put an image right onto my site and add some text. I can change it and instead maybe try this template, which will allow me to add 2 images, so the students can play around with this. They can also just add information on their own by double-clicking, and they'll be able to then add an image, upload something from their desktop or from something saved on their computer. They can also add something from their Google Drive, like a PDF or maybe a Google Doc. It could even be a copy of this checkoff chart that they have in a Google Doc, and then they can add it to the Google site so that the teacher, you can view their self-assessment on this final living museum exhibit. Okay, so here's where they're going to add their picture. They're going to press the plus and they can upload the image if it's saved to their desktop, or they can select an image maybe from the internet where they can search directly in this tool for an image. In this case, I had saved one prior, so I'm going to upload mine from my computer and I'm going to add it to my Google site. And in this case, maybe the historical perspective that I'm looking at are the migrant workers who actually built the Transcontinental Railroad. And then what I'm going to do is take the prompts provided, these 4 prompts here that are being asked of the students to complete, and they can simply copy and paste it right into their site and now answer these questions on this page for the viewer to see. They can also double click here. They can add an image, they can add a text using the T, and this could be the quote that they need to provide in order to be successful in this project. Students can also use these other features to add to the Google site, as well as themes to change the formatting, the colors of the Google site to fit what works for them. They can change this background of the header by pressing change image, and they can upload something different. They can change the color scheme as well as the font choice. The students can also add different pages to their website. Instead of it being all on one page, they can add different pages by pressing this plus, and they can add different sections of the 3 parts of this project, including the photo, the quote, and the information collected from their research. So maybe one section will be the photo and quote. We can add that. They can add another section for their information that they've now collected. They're going to put that in a separate page. And maybe they need to add a little bibliography, a reference page of all the websites that they use, and have to list them to show that they are now quoting this evidence from a different source. So as you can see on the website, it has different tabs up top. However, the students could also drag this under the home page, which would mean that instead of it being separate tabs at the top, it now becomes a drop-down for the viewer. So that's something else that students can do on their Google site. And so when they're done now adding in the information, adding in their quotes, adding in their pictures, and formatting it the way that they want it to look, they can then publish it. And so what they would do is go to publish and make sure that the website address is what they want it to be. The teacher should set some guidelines on what this should be. Again, it could be the student's name, it could be the teacher's name, it could be the period or the subject. And now you want to go to who can view my site. So if you press manage, you can get a sense of the options here. And you can see that it would be that publish site would be only people who are using the NYC DOE email address at schools.nyc.gov versus it being public, which meant that anybody can see it. So because our students are underage, it needs to remain within that protected domain, that protected bubble of the NYC DOE username. So it should stay with this. So again, it should remain that anyone at the NYC DOE can see it. That is our protected bubble, and the students can publish it. And what they would do is, as they continue to make edits, if they just press, so let's say I'll make a change here, I'll add S, railroads, I'm going to publish it. The students can now see what the difference was that has been made from one version to the next. Here's what's currently published, and now here's the new version. So if they want to update it, now anybody who sees their website will see the new version with the updates. They could also press this little paperclip up here, and they can copy the link and email it to you, their teacher, email it out to the school community for them to view. Now, if you wanted multiple students to work together as a team and build a Google site together versus just one individual student, you can have one student create the template and then share it to others who are now going to be able to work on it with that student and collaborate on this Google site together. So that's another option. Instead of it just being one person working on it, you can have that one individual student who created the initial template to then share it to the other students so they can work on it together. Okay, so these are some of the important features of a Google site, and I will show you what it looks like published. So we'll open this up, a new tab, and let's paste it. And here is a version of this. It's going to, again, ask me to sign into my DOE to make sure it stays in that protected bubble that only DOE viewers can use this, not anybody on the internet. And here's the final website. You can see it has the drop downs. And again, the drop down option would be how you would want the students to format it or how they choose to format it. It could be on one page, it could be spread out throughout the website, but it really allows us to become a real digital museum exhibit that students can go back to and reflect on and share out with the wider audience to allow them to view their hard work. Okay, teachers, I want to thank you for joining me today to learn more about Google Sites and how students can create their digital museum exhibit on a Google site. Remember, this will allow for students to publish their work online and have a wider and more authentic audience to view their hard work. I want to thank you again and have a wonderful day.